With another edition of The Fact. Today we're going to talk about Yemen issue and Yemen war, the Saudi attacks on Yemenis.
In terms of Gulf monarchies, supporting it, but it also has Al-Qaeda, Ansar al-Sharia, and Daesh fully supporting it with 3,500 armed Wahhabists and the Saudi coalition forces totaling 185,000, all fighting on the one side against the Ansar Allah and the Houthis. That is the way I see it. It is a war for an imperialist agenda, and it serves that imperialist agenda if it is framed as a sectarian conflict.
Thank you. Ali, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, Chris, what's your idea about the question?
So basically, a lot of people seem to have this impression that the war in Yemen, or as I'd like to call it, the war on Yemen, stems from a sectarian conflict. And even those who want to appear more neutral on this would rather have us believe that the war is a proxy war between Saudi Arabia and Iran. But, I disagree with both premises. First of all, a proxy war is basically between two groups or more who use more or less a proportionate amount of force. Well, we're not seeing that in Yemen. We're seeing literally an invasion by a coalition of Arab forces, mainly led by Saudi Arabia and backed by these foreign mercenaries and foreign intelligence, and even recently international recognized terror groups such as, Al-Qaeda and ISIS found momentum due to the lawlessness that came as a consequence. It's clear that this coalition has no intention of eradicating them, but rather uses them as instruments of war.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay.
For the next question. Who do you think is the invader in this war, and what are the reasons to start the war? Tim, please.
Well, no doubt that Saudi Arabia has been invading Yemen principally with its airstrikes and also its proxy Al-Qaeda armies. Less so its land forces because they've suffered a number of defeats there, but the aggression, as was said by one of the guests before, is clearly by Saudi Arabia against Yemen.
I see. And Mícheál?
Well, I'd have to agree. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia be guilty of violating Yemen's territorial integrity and territorial sovereignty. And on what Tim said there about supporting the Wahhabists, basically for the size of Al-Qaeda, Daesh, Ansar al-Sharia, the blame lies squarely at such Saudi princes' doors as Bandar bin Sultan and Prince Turki. Their financial support for Wahhabist terrorists has been inexcusable. And I'd tell you who else is guilty for the chaotic violence today. Hadi. Hadi is as guilty as anyone. He allowed Obama to drone strike so many times against civilians, and this only boosted support for Al Qaeda, Daesh, and Ansar al Sharia, as I've mentioned. And basically, this has led to an invasion, which has caused a war, which has led to the loss of life of 6,000 Yemenis, including over 3,000 civilians. And I think because Saudi Arabia is allied with the Zionist state, with Britain, with America, basically because two of those are permanent members of the United Nations Security Council, that is the reason Al Saud and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia get away with this genocidal violence. That's how I would term it.
Yeah, thank you. And Chris?
Well, there's no doubt that the invader is basically Saudi Arabia, backed up by the Gulf Cooperation Council, and of course with the blessing of some non-Arab countries such as the United Kingdom and Israel. But the reasons that the Arab coalition stated that either the former President Saleh has some personal vendetta against the current exiled President Hadi, or that Iran is trying to colonize Yemen through Shia fighters. Well, the truth couldn't be any further from these two reasons. The Houthis or the Ansarullah work independently, whether they are backed by Saleh or not. Well, that's first of all. And we should also remember that the Houthis were initially Saleh's main opponents before the invasion, for a very internal reasons that were mostly related to corruption. But now the issue is bigger, a lot bigger than that, and it's not just the Houthis anymore. The Houthis, now the Houthis and the Yemeni military and the Yemeni people and society as a whole, which the Houthis are part of, are being robbed of their sovereignty, and no one cares. They're being robbed of their sovereignty as one nation.
Yeah, thank you so much. Chris, if you answer the next question yourself too, who or which power supports each side of this war?
Like I said before, this isn't a usual proxy war. Basically, to think so would mean that the Houthis are on one side and that the invaders are on the other side, and that somehow the Yemeni people are in the middle. That's not the case. You have Yemen as a whole in the middle, and soldiers as well as mercenaries feasting on the blood of the Yemeni people. Of course, there are many countries that assist Yemen with humanitarian needs, countries or organizations, but you have that everywhere, basically.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, can I
Tim,
add a
you
question?
said some points about an answer. Yes, sure.
All right, before Professor Tim is going to answer the questions, I would like to know about all these sayings about involvement of Iran in this war, because I have talked with many people in both sides, and I mean, even those who are supporting Saudi Arabia and also those who support Houthis and Yemeni people. Some of them say, basically and mainly those who support Saudis, they say that Iran is totally involving in this war, and as somehow they are also fighting along with Houthis in this war, and they're supporting in every way. And I'm not sure if that would be correct and if that would be right, but if you have any information or news or clue about that, can you help us with that? I mean, have Iran physically have been involved in this war or not? Tim,
There's very
Professor,
little.
yes.
Yeah, thank you, Ali. There's very little evidence that Iran has been directly involved or even supplying arms to what is now effectively the